Howdy Space Adventurers, it's Shade here, and it's time to enhance your boost pack with new features such as sustained flight, really cool sprint boosting, enhanced zero-G handling, and as well as all the other cool dynamically adjusting boost pack stats from the original version of this creation. This video is going to cover a quick overview of the new features added in 2.0, as well as a recap using the existing info and footage for the original 1.0 release. Now, of course, I need to give a big shout out to Grisnak and Crimson Flyboy, who have been helping me do a lot of the testing. These gameplay mechanics kind of mods and creations need a lot of testing because they can be quite fiddly, and I couldn't do it without their help, so thank you very much for your assistance, fellas. Okay, first thing is first. If you are unaware, for all mods, including creations and Bethesda creations and game settings, you can come into your settings menu, gameplay options, and within here, you can find various settings for various mods that might be using it, including this one. This is quite an intricate creation with lots of options and information. Please come through, have a read, make sure you understand it, make sure you understand the settings you might be changing. Otherwise, just leave it as default and check out what the initial info needs to tell you. Now, these options and information can change from time to time with updates and releases, so please always check back. And if you are updating this creation, please make sure you unequip and re-equip your affected boost packs. Now, secondly, this creation does not edit any vanilla game items. It does not edit boost packs or space suits or any pieces of armor in any way. And thus, it is completely compatible with any and all mods, including custom armor mods. Now, I do also have a free mod on the Nexus and on the creations menu, which is called Simple Dynamic Boost Packs. This adds some slight dynamic capabilities, some slight self-adjusting capabilities to the default in-game existing boost packs. Whereas this creation today, the Deluxe Dynamic Boost Packs, only adds new types, new stuff, new features. They are separate but completely compatible with each other. In regards to the Deluxe Dynamic Boost Pack features, the original functionality of this creation, they're still in place. However, there are now more options in the configuration menu, and the Mark II feature for falling down or the reduced fall damage now includes a visual effect as well as a knockdown effect. So you can actually use it to knock down your opponents, and you can deliberately trigger it as well if you use that thrust down capability. But we'll cover those dynamic features a little bit later in this video. But anyway, you're here, you want to see the good stuff. Let's take a look at what we need to get started with actual flight capabilities. Well, first thing you're going to need to get is a boost pack flight enhancer. This is available from various spacesuit vendors. The info in the info section in the settings will tell you. This equips alongside your existing boost pack, and it will grant you also the boost pack flight controls item into your weapons inventory. There's no visual effect, so it won't clash with any of your aesthetics. And in order for the flight related features, this must be equipped if you wish to use those features. The dynamic boost pack capabilities built into the backpacks do not need this flight enhancer at all. So if we go to our weapons section, we can see here we have our boost pack flight controls. This works best if we bind it to some kind of keybind for easy access whilst you are out and about. So to get started, simply hit your hotkey or hit the button on your quick wheel, and away we go. We can fly around, and you'll see that our boost pack fuel is slowly ticking down, and any companions, any human followers will also equip their pack and fly around with you. Any creatures or robots will stay on the ground. But worry not, if we sort of get a little bit of distance between them and we deactivate, land back down, with the gameplay option set, you will have your followers teleport straight to you, so no one will ever get lost. Now, the other thing to note is this cannot be activated in combat. This is because it's a bit of a script-heavy mod. There's lots of mechanics flying around in the background, and I'd like to try and just keep the stability and reduce impact to any other events that might be occurring during combat. Thus, it adds a bit more stability to the game, and it also brings a little bit more balance as well, so you can't just shoot up into the sky and snipe everyone from the air at all times. Now, I mentioned you can't take off if you're in combat, but you can shoot if you like. As long as you stay flying, you can keep flying, you can shoot stuff, you can enter combat, no problems. I'm not going to kill the fun that way. But whether you're in combat or not, there is an option you can choose to enable the thrust down mode similar to the Mark II boost pack to disable your flight quickly and easily. In case you missed that, all you do is just do a melee attack of any kind or a gun bash. That's a quick way your flight can be disabled or turned off as well. If you don't like it, that's cool. Just turn it off in the gameplay options. Now, in order to launch into flight, you must have the flight enhancer equipped, but you must also have at least rank 3 of boost pack training for it to activate. The skill rank, whether it's 3 or 4, will also dictate how much fuel you use, as will the gravity of the environment that you're in. Higher gravity, lower skill equals more fuel use. Lighter gravity, high skill equals much less fuel use and longer flights. Secondly, the boost assault training, your rank in this will also determine how fast you can fly. So with full skills allocated, you can get quite a bit of distance when sprinting and flying. You can cover quite a bit of ground. If your system is up to the challenge, you should be able to fly with no issues. Lower performance systems might suffer a little bit of frame loss, a little bit of pop-in. You can ease off. You don't need to be sprinting all the time if that starts to happen, but that's a game limitation. The same thing occurs if you're boosting long distances using the vehicles, or if somehow you're able to sprint ridiculously fast. The next major feature is the sprint boost mode. So if we start sprinting, we'll activate our boost pack. We can cover a lot of ground. We can also boost whilst sprint boosting. This is available in any area, and whilst boosting, you'll also have a slightly softer gravity effect as well. Now, if you're going a little bit fast, you can just tap your sprint button to slow down a little bit. So now we're technically not sprinting, we're just running, but the hovering boost mode will continue with some speed increases. And of course, you can just start sprinting again to pick up the pace once more. Same as with flight mode. If you get far enough away from your followers, when you stop, they'll be summoned to you. If on the rare occasion somehow you find that you're stuck in a little bit of a weird floaty state, just activate first person or third person, just toggle between it, and that will fix it. I've done as much as I can so far to make sure that doesn't happen, but occasionally it can creep in. I'll continue to add more bug fixes as I can find solutions for this kind of stuff. And as mentioned, if we come into the gameplay options, we can choose how the sprint mode is activated. I like to have a slightly delayed activation when sprinting, but there are a few options here, and more options may be added over time based on suggestions and feedback. Finally, the next major feature implemented is some enhanced zero-G handling. As cool as zero-G is in Starfield, I find it frustrating to navigate and utilize. It's quite realistic, I guess, but I find it laggy and very floaty and annoying to be in, to the point where I actually really dislike doing levels or areas where there is no gravity. However, now, if we activate our zero-G enhancer mode, it is much snappier, much more useful, and will also have less recoil from weapons when shooting. There's still some recoil, but we don't get yeeted across the room like previously. Now, once again, of course, there are options. The handling is affected by the option set for enhanced flight precision. Now, if you have this disabled for the normal flight mode, which also makes flying snappy as well and less floaty, this setting will default to slight when you activate zero-G mode. But this is much more enjoyable, I think, for encountering zero-G. And you've still got speed boost options, and your fuel will gradually tick down as per usual. But since your boost pack is not having to work as hard in this area, you're not going to use as much fuel as you would if you were flying or sprint boosting. There are also no skills required in order to use the enhanced zero-G mode. So you can activate that as soon as you have a boost pack and a boost pack enhancer equipped. So that's the sustained flight related features covered. Now let's jump into the dynamic boost pack features, where you can have different self-adjusting, dynamically adapting boost packs for your general traversal as per the original release of this creation. These are intended to be the one-stop shop for your boost pack needs. Let's take a look. Now to start with, we'll demonstrate the inside jumping height. So if we move towards the ledge here, you can just make it up and mantle over the top. But if we are moving slowly or not running or standing still, we can boost a bit higher and make it straight over without having to mantle at all. Now to further demonstrate the adaptive dynamic behavior, we're just going to step outside in the wilderness by our ship here. Now if we're running along and we boost up, we can almost make it. Yes, we can mantle to the top of the little nodule thing here. But now if we do it again while standing still or moving very slowly for a more climbing boost, you can see we can boost way up onto the ship altogether. So movement can affect how much boost height we get. Now a similar thing happens with the adaptive nature of the dynamic boost pack when we're running along for a horizontal boost forwards for a little speed up. You can see we get some boost there. Now if we go again while sprinting, we can get a much bigger speed horizontal boost. Again, reacting to the environment and what we are doing. Now this is further exacerbated by the fact that we're using a Mark III boost pack. Now the Mark III also has the added features of slightly extra boost height strength or horizontal boost speed strength when we're not in a city, town, or some kind of settlement. Now for those unaware, in order to get the horizontal boosting, you have to be using a keyboard and to bind a key to the secondary or alternate key binding for the jump button. At the time of this recording, controller users don't have a way to trigger this mechanic in the game. Now this is a limitation within the game engine itself. Hopefully Bethesda will come up with a way for controller users to trigger this effect. We'll have to wait and see what comes out with future updates. Hopefully we can get something working for our controller users out there. Now whilst the Mark I brings us the nice dynamic movement abilities depending on what we're doing, the Mark II introduces some cool features such as the ability to quickly get down to the ground by just doing a quick melee jab, melee swing, or gun bash, any kind of melee attack, and we'll thrust down to the ground. Now on top of that, we'll no longer have to worry about fall damage, because that can be quite pesky to get the timing correct. Now they've got the Mark II, we can thrust down to the ground and we can come down great distances without getting injured. Now to further demonstrate just how useful the downward thrust is, we've come to a nice low gravity moon. As you can see, when we boost in these places, we get pretty floaty, which can be pretty annoying. But then a quick little jab propels us back down to the ground and we can continue. So this is really useful if you're trying to explore vast distances, climb up high, or to descend your attack on some filthy spaces. I really felt that the ability to thrust downwards was just as important as it was to go upwards, or even forwards for that matter. So by utilizing the dynamic boost pack features, you can get quite good at traversing the terrain in many ways to sort of achieve whatever we want to do. Plus, I think it's just fun. Now, the final benefit of the Mark III, on top of boosting the Mark I abilities already, is the fact that we can hover for extended periods. So this is your boost assault training, unlocked in the skill tree, where you can hover whilst boosting and aiming for a period of time. Well, now you can boost for longer and you can also move a lot faster whilst doing this as well. But this is only doable outside of populated areas such as cities, towns, or settlements. This is to try and keep it balanced and to keep things flowing more naturally based on the activities you're likely doing in these places. Now, in order to fit the module to your boost pack, come up to any spacesuit workbench. Assuming you have the correct materials and research unlocked, you can switch out that type and fit it to your boost pack accordingly. But that's it for now. I hope you like it. Stay tuned for further updates and have fun exploring the Starfield.